Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to expose top 10 most haunted places in America. Did you hear before about this? So let's connect it with us. We know the United States as the land of spacious skies and amber waves of grain, but it also happens to be the land of a million ghost stories. Take a coast-to-coast tour of the most haunted places in the US, where lingering spirits roam through the halls of hotels, abandoned insane asylums, Broadway theaters, and even a city zoo. And if ghosts aren't your go-to travel companions, fear not. These sites offer enough culture, history, and beautiful scenery and architecture to keep you firmly planted in this realm. Here are the top 10 most haunted places in America. 10. Bodhi, California. Once home to 10,000 people, Bodhi boomed in the 1870s and 80s when gold was found in the hills surrounding Mono Lake. It's now a state historic park, with some parts of the town preserved in a state of arrested decay. Tables with place settings, and shops eerily stocked with supplies. It's not surprising that there are many reports of supernatural activity here, including ghost sightings and music playing from shuttered bars. There is also a legend that any visitor who takes anything, even a rock, from Bodhi will be cursed with bad luck and health problems upon leaving. 9. Bonaventure Cemetery, Savannah, Georgia. Those of you who remember the memes will recognize this cemetery as the one featured in the novel Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Like the book, the Savannah Cemetery itself has a Southern Gothic atmosphere, with Spanish moss giving shade to time-worn Victorian monuments. There are many notable figures buried here, like singer Johnny Mercer and poet Conrad Aiken, but it's Gracie Watson who most deserves a visit. Having died at just 6 years old, her grave is marked by a life-size marble statue with her hand resting on a tree stump, symbolizing her life. Cut short. Many visitors place toys at her grave when they visit, and some have reported seeing the ghost of Gracie near the site. Other spooky accounts of the Bonaventure include inexplicable sounds like crying babies and barking dogs, and statues suddenly smiling as people approach them. 8. Cahaba, Alabama. Alabama's first capital and famous ghost town takes its name from the state's longest river, situated at the confluence of the Cahaba and the Alabama. It was abandoned after the Civil War, and its empty buildings, slave burial ground, and eerie cemeteries are now popular settings for ghost tours and stories of paranormal activity. The most famous tale is that of a luminous floating orb appearing in the former garden maze of Colonel C.C. Pegasus' house shortly after the colonel had been killed in battle. The phenomenon became known as Pegasus' ghost and still attracts curious visitors to the site today. 7. Calcasieu Courthouse, Lake Charles, Louisiana. Toni Jo Henry was a former sex worker who reached national levels of infamy when she killed a man in cold blood in 1940. It took 3 trials for a jury to convict the charming Toni Jo, but she eventually became the first and only woman in Louisiana to be executed in the electric chair. However, her spirit is said to have remained in the courthouse, where workers can feel her presence and even smell her burning hair. Many claim she meddles with everyday life at the courthouse to make life more difficult for the employees, locking doors and fiddling with office equipment. 6. Crescent Hotel, Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Since its construction in 1886, the Crescent Hotel has served several purposes: luxury resort, conservatory for young women, junior college. But the strangest mark on its history came in 1937 when it got a new owner, Norman G. Baker. Baker was a millionaire inventor who decided to pose as a doctor despite having no medical training and turn the hotel into a hospital that could cure cancer. He was eventually found out and run out of town, although reports say that his spirit found its way back to the site and found some otherworldly company too. The now operating Crescent Hotel is said to be haunted by at least 8 ghosts, ranging from a 5-year-old girl to a bearded man wearing Victorian clothing. 5. Dock Street Theater, Charleston, South Carolina. One of the oldest theaters in America, this site in downtown Charleston has racked up a lot of tumult and history over the years. After a fire burned down the original theater, the Planters Inn was built on the spot. It was converted back to a theater in the 1930s. The most flamboyant ghost here is Nettie Dickerson, who, legend has it, was struck by lightning while standing on the balcony of the hotel. Her shadow has been reported gliding along the 2nd floor of the theater, dressed in a red gown. Also in otherworldly attendance, Junius Brutus Booth, a renowned 19th century actor and the father of Lincoln assassin John Wilkes, who used to frequent the inn. 4. The Driskill, Austin, Texas. The Driskill is a majestic Romanesque hotel with modern rooms and an iconic brick facade, drawing Europeans, tourists, and wedding parties since 1886. It's a true Austin landmark, and according to some, a true hotspot for ghosts. Travelers have noted eerily abnormal sounds through its ornate corridors, as well as phantom sightings of the hotel's namesake, Jess Driskill, whose portrait still hangs in the lobby. 3. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The castle-like Eastern State Penitentiary took solitary confinement to new levels when it was built in 1829. Prisoners lived alone, exercised alone, and ate alone. When an inmate left his cell, a guard would cover his head with a hood so he couldn't see or be seen. The prison had to abandon its solitary system due to overcrowding from 1913 until it closed in 1970. Although the forms of punishment did not get any less severe, chaining an inmate's tongue to his wrists is one example. This site, one of the most haunted places in America, now welcomes thousands of visitors every year, both for its museum and annual Terror Behind the Walls celebration, which features 15 haunted attractions within the prison walls for Halloween. Reported paranormal happenings have included disembodied laughter, shadowy figures, and pacing footsteps. 2. Emily's Bridge, Stowe, Vermont. New England is known for its lovely covered bridges, but some are more likely to elicit dread rather than delight. Take Emily's Bridge in Stowe, for example, a 50-foot-long bridge that is said to be the site of a young woman's suicide in the mid-1800s. According to legend, the woman, Emily, was supposed to meet her lover at the bridge to elope, but ended up hanging herself from the rafters when he never showed up. Today, Emily's ghost is said to maliciously haunt the site, clawing at passing cars and even scratching the backs of pedestrians until they bleed. There are slightly less menacing spooks as well, like images of a white apparition and strange voices and footsteps coming from the tunnel. 1. Gettysburg. The Gettysburg National Military Park is home to some of the most historic and scenic Civil War sites. Visitors can walk in the footsteps of soldiers who fought at such iconic places as Culp's Hill, the Peach Orchard, Wheatfield, Devil's Den, Little Round Top, and Cemetery Ridge. The 22,000 sq. ft. Museum and Visitor Center is a great place to start your visit. Battlefield tours, either self-guided or with a licensed battlefield guide, are available. Don't forget to visit the Soldiers National Cemetery and the David Wills House in town, where Abraham Lincoln stayed the night before he gave his Gettysburg Address. The Battle of Gettysburg was one of the bloodiest in American history, with somewhere around 50,000 young men dying in the three-day conflict. That's all for today. Share this video with your friends and leave a comment with your thoughts on the topic. We're constantly uploading new videos, so make sure to check back often for updates. See you in next video.